All right. So Ajay, I'll ask you one last question on film, then we'll
Okay.
move on to other things.
Okay.
So this is a question that I have, which I call the psychology of understanding. So the psychology of when and at what stage of life did you see that particular film? So, for example, you say Godzilla's Revenge is one of your favorite films, right?
Yeah.
But you saw it as a kid. Had
Yeah.
you seen it as a mature, cynical person, maybe it wouldn't even register. Do you agree?
Um,
Because you saw it as a kid at that point of time in your life, that's why you think it's good.
no, no. I mean, as a kid, I liked the film. I
Hmm.
appreciated its qualities on an
Hmm.
intellectual level as I got older, and I could see that. I can understand why a lot of people think, well, like I said, it reuses old other Godzilla films that are bad films,
Hmm.
but it does it in a way. It has a kid who's a latchkey kid. It has a
Hmm.
kid who may or may not be in the orbit of a possible sexual predator, this old man
Hmm.
who seems a little too eager now.
Yeah.
He deals with bullies who taunt him. He deals with a couple of gangsters in a comical scene that again makes the film work more because it has a sense of humor about itself. He
Hmm.
sees Godzilla's son, who's this bizarre character, and
Hmm.
yet he has this real friendship, it seems, with the character.
Hmm.
And all of these things are probably just going on in the kid's mind,
Hmm.
most of them at least. And it's
Yeah.
because he's lonely. There's a couple of scenes where his mother seems more concerned about going to work than being with him. We
Hmm.
see at the end, we only see, I think, his father at the end after he's done a naughty thing and kicked over uh,
Hmm.
the paint of a guy painting a sign, and
Hmm.
his father's on a railway train or whatnot. So we get the idea that this is a lonely kid. Intellectually, as a 6-year-old, even though I was smart, I couldn't get all of that. Just like I couldn't get
Right.
all of the thing about Curse of the Cat People, about the little girl and the fact that her mother
Yeah.
is dead and she's imagining
Oh
her.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but there may have been that I emotionally I connected with it and
Hmm.
maybe understood some of it on a way I couldn't elaborate. But
Hmm.
there are certainly films that I can look back on. For example, here in the U.S., there's a television show called The Brady Bunch when I was growing up
Yeah.
that I liked as
Yeah.
a kid. But looking back on
Hmm.
it, it's not well acted.
Oh yeah.
It's a classic because it's cheesy and so bad. But
Hmm.
it doesn't have the emotional resonance, say, of Godzilla's Revenge to me, and I don't think it
Hmm.
works technically as well. There are
Oh
other
yeah.
television shows I grew up with that I can look back with and say,
Yeah.
the 1970s in America was the golden age of television. Um,
Oh yeah.
but I can only look
Mash. Yes.
well, MASH, Mary Tyler Moore Show, Bob Newhart Show.
Yeah.
There was Carol Burnett. There was The Odd Couple. There were so many shows that were intelligently written and didn't condescend to you. And this is one of the things that bad art does. It condescends to you. It says, you're a fucking idiot. So I'm going to tell you this. This film is about nuclear war being bad. This film is
Hmm.
about, gay bashing being bad. This film is
Yeah.
about lynching people who are black or from
Yeah.
Africa is being bad.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're a total psychopath, you know that. You don't need a work of art to do that. Put it on a bumper sticker. Show me
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
that tells me that you respect me intellectually, that you don't have to spoon feed me. I'm 54 years old. I haven't been spoon fed for over half a century. Don't spoon feed
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reason I said this is because, and the same example I used in Citizen Kane is because when he says rosebud, and then there are so many articles, so many theses saying, what does that mean? What does the sled mean? And the first time I saw it, I could just understand. It means it's his childhood, his happy days. And that's what, regardless of your nationality, skin color, or religion, everybody will relate to that,
And
you
and
know?
let's and the film would not work any less if we hadn't seen
Hmm.
that last shot of the sled. If we didn't know what Rosebud was, there's this
Hmm.
idea that people want everything explained to you. Life isn't
Hmm.
like that. I could psychoanalyze you for 20 years, and maybe I
Hmm.
don't know, maybe you have a phobia against left-handedness or something. Where did that come? Well, we may never know. It may just be one
Yeah.
in life, in reality, in the universe. There are these things
Yeah.
called just because reasons. Why, for
Hmm.
example, is gravity the way it is? Well, it
Hmm.
may just be that that's just the way it is. If gravity
Oh
were a
yeah.
little different, you and I might have tentacles.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very great way of putting it. Again, last point on that note, because I read the article Dan Schneider versus the rest of the world, if you
Mm,
remember from the
yeah.
City Pages. And when the article opens, it says that you're watching a wrestling match or something, and you say it's not the same as when I was a kid, you know.
Yeah.
So and I mean that's the sentiment that everybody has. I feel like even when I watched wrestling, Bret Hart and Undertaker, early '90s, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think today's wrestlers match up to that, you know. So maybe it could be that childhood thing. I could be wrong, but who knows?
Well, it's that way. If you look back, for example, at the first girl you ever thought was pretty, assuming that you're
Oh yeah.
straight, you might look at her today and an old photo and say, "Boy, there were a lot prettier girls. Why did I like her?" You know?
Yeah, I know, yeah. You only realize later on.
Yeah.